everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Talking Tongue, the weekly quarantine show where I get to talk to my friends near and far to talk about the movies that they want to talk about, the music that they want to talk about. Just kidding. We hate music in Talking Tongue. Blah, music, gross. But you know what? I don't want to, ignore a large part of my audience who love music, I guess. Maybe, I don't know. We've never done a show exclusively about that. But today we have, I don't know, an up-and-coming hottest artist out there on the level of what? Let's say Red Hot Chili Peppers, even though that's not the genre of music that they specialize in.
I mean, they hit everywhere.
Yeah, Spice Girls. You might say this person is the next Spice Girl.
Yeah, that's definitely more accurate. Yep.
All right, everybody, the next Spice Girl, Adam Jasim, everyone.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me here, Mr. Tongue.
Mr. Adam, what is your Spice Girl name?
Ooh, sexy.
Sexy? That's pretty, because there's Baby Spice, Posh Spice, Ginger Spice. I don't know if you can name yourself Sexy Spice, like that's...
Yeah, I feel like those are all already copyrighted.
Yeah, that's right. Adam, everyone, it's Adam. He you may know him from, it's been a long time since you've stepped foot in the pod cavern.
Yeah.
Top
2 or 3 years?
I don't know. Yeah, top 5 summer jams. And after that podcast, I'm like, we cannot have this guy in the pod cavern anymore. He's a liability.
Oof, I know it was a little rough around the edges.
Adam, how are you? It's been so long since I've seen your face and talked to you. What's new in the world?
I was just thinking that actually, like we've texted here and there, but I was like, I actually haven't seen your face live since like quite a while.
I don't know. It's been I was gonna say too long, but maybe not long enough. I'm okay. I'm living a good life without
guesses right now. I know. No, it's honestly, if I'm being totally serious, like all things considered worldwide, I've been very blessed. I'm very fortunate to be where I am. I am not obviously without my struggles, but I have been good lately.
Good.
Good.
That's really good to hear. Now, some people don't know who you are.
Yeah,
they don't know who you are. They're like, Sexy Spice. What is this? Who's this guy who's just claiming to be the sixth Spice Girl? Is there 5 of them? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. So my name is Adam Jasim. I am a musician, producer, DJ, singer, songwriter, blah blah blah. All those funny things, funny things. I've been making music for about 17 years. That was when I first basically picked up a guitar. I make music. I love to connect with people in the musical way and the visual way and the artistic way, but really anyway, I love people as well. Well, I mean, we're not
anyway. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm a producer first and foremost, really now, I guess you would say. I just love chatting with people on shows like this and sharing artistic endeavors.
Cool. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because right now you have 5 guitars in the background, and as I understand, they're decorative. None of them work.
That is correct, actually. No. Funny enough, actually, one of them doesn't work. Unfortunately, my baby, my actual baby, this little baby here, my acoustic dead center, she is in the ER at the moment. I am very, very. This is why I don't have plants in my house, because I cannot take care of things that take constant attention. Also, why I don't have pets, although some of them are okay. She's been very dehydrated, and you're supposed to keep a guitar hydrated and humidified and all these things. Not like pouring water on, just like little humidifiers you use. And I'm just bad at. So
you're not giving it enough sunlight. Not changing the diapers of the guitar every day.
No. But as you know, Tongue, most of my music nowadays is in the dance world. But I do like to sprinkle in some little guitar licks here and there and give some good old little riffage going on when I can.
Right. So, this is unorthodox, and I don't want you to pick up your guitar now on the show, but if you want to give me a guitar lick vocally, what's your best guitar lick right now? Go.
Oh, best guitar. I think that was Crazy Train.
Wow. Everybody. See, this is how Adam is such a successful producer. He doesn't even need
give me
instruments.
one musical thing. Give me any medium, and we'll slap her right down.
That's incredible, Adam. Yeah, let's talk a little bit about that, because I'd be remiss not to talk about your journey as a musician. And when I first met you, I'm like, who is this bearded guy? At the time, you had freaking long hair almost to your knees. Yes. It almost seemed like, not actually, but very long hair.
Not far off.
Intimidating? No, not really.
No.
Very approachable, but someone who's very passionate about art. And I felt a connection, because I feel the same way about my own art when it comes to improv and when it comes to podcasting, all this stuff. And I'm like, wow. I felt
that connection too right away.
I
saw it in your eyes and the way you looked at me.
Yeah. And there was sparks flying, the lightning bolts between our eyeballs.
Absolutely.
Sweating on top of each other, panting. It was like
profusely.
And we were at work too, so
it was we had to keep it a little PG.
That's right. And until our shift ended. But anyways, it doesn't matter. You've been so hard at work. What I tell people in general when it comes to if they want to start like a podcast or if they want to start comedy, and I know you feel the same way, which is just like, it's passion first. You do it because you love to do it, and you put in the work, you put in the time, and you spend hours upon hours of making a thing that may not be appreciated by anybody.
Yeah,
and
then
hours. One day, possibly, one person starts to pay attention to it. Then two people start to pay attention to it.
Yep.
And you keep doing it. And again, it is for people, but you're really doing it for yourself in the artistic journey to just get better and better at what you're doing. And that journey will never end. And I feel like you feel that too. And I feel like now you're at a place just kind of scoping around the internet. You're finally starting to, 17 years later, take hold a little bit, gain control and gain a little bit of fandom.
Momentum. A little bit. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So before I get into that, my actual journey, I just want to comment on one thing you said. You mentioned that, it's this bit by bit journey. And it was funny because right before, the reason I pushed this interview about an hour and a half or so later was I was doing an Ask Me Anything kind of Q&A online for a record label that I just released on. And, one of the questions that someone asked was, what was the moment you knew you made it, or, you were going to make it, or you wanted to make it? And I basically said what you just said, is that I don't think there ever was, at least for me, one specific moment. It's been a culmination of little wins over time, slowly, bit by bit by bit. Like you said, one thing happens, the next thing happens. And that's what it's been for me. And, I will say that this past year, 12 months, has been the biggest growth I've ever seen in terms of the momentum I've made. But it's not for me. It was never yesterday I am picking up a guitar and a week later I am signing to my favorite label. No, absolutely not.
Right.
So in terms of my actual journey, I mean, like I said, 17 years ago, I picked up a guitar for the first time and I just wanted to play guitar. That's it. I didn't have any other agenda. And slowly, surely, I started, playing with some friends, and we started our first band. And I won't go into the super long version of this, but I was in bands for 10, 11 years, and everything from keyboards to guitar to vocalist, metal, rock, dance music a little bit early in the day, but not to the extent I am now. And I always had a solo project ever since I was 17. And I pursued that for many years. And I think that was actually what I was still doing when you and I worked together. And when I first met you. And it just didn't go where I wanted it to go. I was passionate about the music, but it just wasn't working. And so, I decided to lay things aside after a while, reevaluate what I wanted to do. And the dance world had always intrigued me. And so I jumped in, 2 feet without looking back. And still there were struggles, I would say for about 15 years, because, the first couple of years when I was just kind of getting my feet wet with what is music actually.
Yeah, sure.
For 15 years, I have been trying to have people hear me. And, back then I would almost argue it was easier. If I had the knowledge now that I had then, there was no Spotify then. There was no Facebook or Instagram, or none of this stuff existed in 2000 and just starting to come out in 2005, I guess.
Sure, yeah.
But I just pushed and countless sleepless nights later. And like I said, only this past year, I've started now actually signing with some of my favorite labels that I've always wanted to, being in contact with people I only ever dreamed of. And it's slowly coming together. I still have a ways to go, but I'm definitely getting to where I need to be. And it's encouraging. It's encouraging that I get messages from people I don't know now saying, oh, I heard your song and it's so great. And I'm like, wow, thank you so much. You literally have no idea, unless you're an artist yourself, of course, how much that means to someone who pours their life into creating something that comes from within them. It's very difficult to be an artist because it's a business as well, but you have nothing physically as a music artist anyway, to give someone. Nobody can, you can't hold my music in your hands. I mean, you can hold a CD or whatever back in the day when those relics were still around. But the fact that someone hears this and they consume this and reach out to you is just unlike any other feeling.
For sure. Yeah. I love that. That's exactly what I expected you to say. Now, do you think, and it's funny because I know a lot of people who have found I know some people that have found some success over the years in different art forms, whether it's like a YouTube channel where they're starting to blow up, or like a beauty Instagram thing, or like now, like a couple musicians, including yourself, and comedians and stuff like that. Now it's always a worry on the outside to be like, is this going to change this person? I don't think it's going to change you in any way, because you've always been yourself. What is your do you have that in yourself? And I mean, of course you're biased because you're you, but but as things start coming in, as things start blowing up at a speed that you have not ever been anticipated and felt before, do you think things are moving not too fast now? But maybe that's the question. Or you feel, what do you feel right now?
It's interesting. This is actually a question that comes up, especially in terms of am I going to change to be something that makes me someone like to be something I'm not? I guess it's very challenging for any artist to say, I will never do that. However, I have always made the point of saying, I will never do that.
Sure.
And the reason is, I've seen it happen so many times, and I've seen how people treated me when I was, 15, 16, 17, up until, I'm not gonna tell how old I am, but if people do the math from the show here, they'll figure it out. But dude,
you're so old. People at home.
My casket's already designed. Actually.
Exactly. Adam is on his deathbed. So.
It's challenging because I think one of the most important things I've done for this is that I have a group of friends who hold me accountable, and we've said to each other, always hold us accountable. So if tomorrow I made a song with Justin Bieber and my head just blew up and I was like, don't talk to me, do you know who I am? These guys would be messaging me in 30 seconds, even though they live in Los Angeles and a few other places around the world, and be like, dude, wake up. You're still you. Don't know. I think that support network, beyond the support network of your actual art and the challenge we go through, but keeping you is essential for any artist, because I've seen it happen to so many people. Unfortunately, it's caused, relationship issues with these people, of course. And I don't want to be that. Now, will I change? I'm sure I will change some. Everybody changes over time. I believe I'm personally not a huge believer in the thing that everybody always stays the same. Some people believe that, I think people change and develop, and I think that it's okay to change, but you need to be wary of how you're changing.
Sure. You don't want to let fame go to your head. And I guess that's
Ooh.
the thing, right? So,
Yeah.
and my last question to you, which I've always been curious about, because I feel this happens to me, but not to the level at what you're experiencing right now. Unfortunately, with podcasting and improv, there's no record label for to sign for or anything like that. But I find, I don't know how to say this eloquently, but really what I'm trying to say is I find whenever you find a little bit of success and like you put out art for years and you put it out to 0 likes on Facebook or Twitter or whatever. And that's fine because
seven
that's
plays on SoundCloud.
sure. And that's fine because like I said before, it's about the passion. It's about the work. It will come if you keep doing it.
I think I know what your next question is.
But then people start paying attention. And then out of nowhere, people that you haven't talked to before start connecting with you. And I find not that it's always in a bad way. Sometimes they're just genuinely happy for you, and that's great. But there's always a part of some group of people who feel like they are trying to get in touch with you to ride on your success. Does that make sense to you?
Oh, absolutely. 100%. And I'll tell you, I mean, this week, since you know, I had a song come out on, I'm going to do a quick little plug here, actually. Just had a new song come out on Excision, who's one of the biggest dubstep producers on his label. And that was on, what day are we today? Saturday. So that was on Wednesday. And it hasn't even been a week. And I've been bombarded with some messages I can tell are just exactly what you said. And it's not to say that they're bad people, but it's so tempting, you know, if you've got this person in your social network, whether you know them personally or not, it's a click away to say, hey, I love your music, even though you might not have heard my song even, but you see where what happened with it. It's challenging. I've been guilty for it in the past too, not to the extent of some of the people that I've been getting messages from, but
sure,
it's challenging, and I'm not hating on the people for it. I'm just saying it has happened, but it's human nature. It's human nature to want to be a part of someone's success, and we're selfish human beings. You know, humans are selfish creatures, and I don't think it's a thing out of you know, any kind of malicious behavior or whatever, but it happens. It happens, and it will continue to happen with you know, other
I think
things
there is different levels of it. Personally, I feel like some people are generally happy for you. Some people just want to be like, I don't ever message you, but I'm happy for you, and that's great. And then there's the other people who are just like, hey, you're kind of big now. If you can like now promote my thing, or like maybe they never liked you or something like that, but they just want to like just be part of that. So they can ride on your success. It's like if you won the lottery and then out of nowhere people start coming to you.
And it's that point right there that when you said that the people who never paid attention to you in the past or worse yet, disregarded you and put you down, and now are reaching out to you saying, oh, I'm so glad I always supported you. It's like, no, you didn't. or you know, even things simple as people who I did not talk to hardly ever in high school, or you know, throughout my early years of university or whatever, and suddenly they're adding me on Facebook. I've literally maybe had like 3 conversations with this person in my life. And it's like, I knew who you were. We went to the same school. We had the same friends, but we talked a few times, and it's like, whatever, man. I mean, I have so many people on Facebook that I actually don't even know, so I can't really say anything about the
flex. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but I'm just saying,
I know.
It's very interesting to be experiencing things that I've observed in the past and I didn't really plan on happening.
Sure, yeah. I think it's just an interesting, just social experiment question that I needed to ask someone who's kind of living it right now. And I would say to my level, like sometimes maybe, but I don't make money off of what I do. So, and a success of a producer and all this stuff seems to be a little bit more high. What's the word? Like people notice it more.
I don't know if I'd say notice it more. It's just, it's so prevalent that like you're literally inundated with it all the time that eventually someone sticks out and you're like, okay, I wish there were not as many of us, if I'm being honest. Like, it would be so much easier. I mean,
sure.
I'm not saying that creating a podcast or any kind of other art form is easier, but I mean, like I said, 15 years ago, there was no Spotify. There was no easy access to making actual decent music. The music programs that were there at the time, it sounded like you were making something off a Nintendo 64. It's like,
that sounds awesome.
I actually have a friend who does a lot of that type of stuff in his music now. But yeah, it's yes, it is challenging, but it's just, in our day and age, it's something you have to deal with. Yep. And you have to be kind about it though too. I mean, there have been recently actually, situations in which I'm like, I just need to stop talking to this person when it gets to a point where it's like, you're going too far. Like I've said, I gotta, I need to kind of create some kind of what's that word I'm looking for?
Distance? I don't know.
Distance or boundaries. That's
boundaries.
It. And they don't respect them. And that's where you have to be like, look, like, we don't have this kind of relationship. Whereas, if my homies come up to me, the next day, my homies I talk to every day, even, someone I know, and they came up to me a day after release, they're like, yo, get me on a song. I wouldn't react the same way.
Right.
I'd probably tell them to, take a hike or something, but no.
Right. Yeah. Now, Adam, that's kind of why you're here today, is that I'm formally asking you on this show to be part of your song. Now, I haven't sang in a long time, but I do know how to burp on demand.
Oh, goodness. That is literally what I was looking for. I've got one called Bodily Functions, and it's perfect.
Wow, you've been working on Bodily Functions, that track, for years.
So. What's actually funny? That you bring that type of question up.
No, you have a story for this. Okay,
one of the songs I'm working on actually features my dad.
Amazing.
And he is not any type of musician whatsoever. He's always dreamed of like playing the violin.
Sure.
But he's not. My dad is a PhD in chemistry. Like that's his passion. He loves like quantum physics and all this stuff.
Oh my God. What?
Yeah, that's what he does in his spare time. He goes online and looks up all these things I can barely pronounce. And it's funny because my father's from the Middle East, and this song has a very Middle Eastern tone to it. And I was like, Dad, I want you to be on my song. Not only that, I want it to say in the song featuring Adam's dad. I'm not going to give my dad's name right now.
Sure.
But, and yeah, he came over the last time I saw him. He came in my vocal booth. I wrote out this poem that I wanted him. So unfortunately, I didn't learn Arabic when I was younger, so I am very, very minimal at speaking it.
Of course, yeah.
And yeah, he spent a while translating it into Arabic for me, and then we just recorded them, and I'm adding it to the song and making it fit the way I want.
That's really cool. Although I don't know how that fits with bodily fluids or functions.
Oh, well,
Did you get your dad to do something funky on the recording?
No.
Okay. We're just making sure. We're just making sure. It's a family-friendly show, Adam.
Family-friendly.
Okay. Besides music, of course, we want to talk about some positivity before we get into the news of the week. Besides music, I know that's a huge part of your life, but besides that, what other things keep you happy?
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe you could tell from me talking about my dad right now. My family is very, very close to me. Not physically. They live a little ways away, but we've always been very close as a family. My sister has kids that I'm very close with as their uncle, of course, and it's very important to me. I would not be able to do or be where I am, even though I sometimes feel like I'm nowhere. I would not be here without them. So right. I'm very close with my family. We're in contact every day, multiple times a day, to the point where they're probably exhausted of me all the time. But that's besides the point. I recently got a family recipe of making bread, so I've enjoyed making bread here.
Wow,
and there
that's
lately.
Such a quarantine thing to do.
I know.
Thing to do. And have you made bread?
I have. Yeah. Yeah.
You see, I mean, it's kind of like bread.
It's got wheat in it. No, I mean, the first couple times, I don't know if it was I used a different type of flour or what, but the first couple times it was great, and then the next two times it was super like mushy in the middle, and I don't know what happened. I still ate it though. I mean,
I used to ate it. You're like, this is
gross.
My stomach hurts, but I mean, I made it. So
I created this. It's like you're not going to throw out family friendly show. Okay.
Yeah, no, yes. I mean, like, of course, like it's like, creating a baby, right? And you don't want to throw out a baby.
You went there. All right.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Of course, we go there on their show. We talk about throwing babies in the trash every episode.
Oh my goodness.
Oh God.
With that said,
I have a song about that.
No, my nieces and nephews, honestly, whenever I get to see them, they keep me busy as much as children will. Probably more, these guys, because they're twins too.
Oh wow.
Two of them, and they've got a little brother, and I just love spending time with them. My sister and my brother-in-law, we always have really good conversations. And like I said, my parents are my rocks. I wouldn't be anywhere without them. Aside from family and food, though, I do like keeping active. This past year, as with many people, has been a big struggle. Used to go to the gym, and now gyms aren't a thing really in Ontario now. So, when I can, I don't have a car actually, so I walk everywhere. So I get at least usually minimum about 10,000 steps a day, which is good.
It's good.
I've got my select shows that I like to watch, but I also try and keep those at a minimum. I'm a strong proponent of you become what you use your time for. And I spent many hours in the past, wasting it away on social media. I still do sometimes, but things like, video games and things. I've had my time when I would just, spend hours and hours on them. And ideally, you want to have a good balance, but when you just put so much into one thing or another, whether that is art, even art, you've got to step away sometimes. And those can be the times when the best inspiration for that thing actually come to you.
Yeah. I agree. Yes. I think it's a tricky thing when it comes to pandemic. And I don't fault anybody for spending too much time on one thing over the other, because we all cope in all different ways. We talked about drinking before the show started today, and some people need a couple extra, as long as you're safe out there, of course. But some people need a couple extra to get through the day, and I get that. Like, we live in those times.
We do.
You have to keep your head above water. I get that. But to your point, like, I do that myself too. I can only spend. I have a daily ritual where basically I only get from 9 p.m. every single night to whenever I go to bed, which is only to like 11 or 12 at max, to myself. Every time, everything before that is get work done, whether it's podcasting, housework, take care of the dog, whatever it is. It allows me to really enjoy life. And I've also tried to keep off social media as I mean, whatever. I spend all day, not all day, but every day on it.
In the creative realm, you don't really have a choice. This is free marketing. I remember someone years ago had said that, and people say it all the time. But if you're not utilizing social media, you are doing yourself a disservice.
It's true. It's true.
The only thing that we had growing up really that compared at all was MySpace, and really, it wasn't even. Close to the same thing.
I wasn't even part of MySpace. Too many hot people on there, and I didn't belong. So.
No, it was just a different world. And even on there, I pretty much just used it to post my songs and follow some artists that I like, and that was about it. You really are doing yourself a disservice if you're not utilizing these to the best of your capabilities. And I think it also, the platforms you choose to use also dictate how you're going to do. I'll post very different content on Facebook than I will on Instagram.
Sure.
Because for me, although they're both owned by Facebook, it's a different demographic. It's a different vibe. I would argue that Instagram is much better for business. I don't actually post a lot of, while I'll post a picture of my family on Facebook, I actually don't do that anymore on Instagram personally. It's just not my thing. Some people it is, some people it's not.
Hey, it's okay. It's weird that the other day you just posted a picture of just your bicep. And I've been meaning to talk to you about.
It was actually an inverted one because it was the result of COVID.
Okay. Wow. I love that. And I've been meaning to say this maybe this is the right place to say it, but yes, I think when people ask you how your weekend was, and you spend all your time on social media, nobody says, I spent time on social media. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, you did nothing. You did nothing. That's what you're doing. Right. So maybe this is a wake-up call to spend a little bit less time on it, right? Stay connected with people in other ways. Although we do need online to stay connected with people.
I saw this meme. I think it was actually yesterday. And it was, imagine that social media shut down like a business, and it was like a 9 to 6 business, and that's it. After 6 p.m., there's nothing.
Love it.
I would love that. That is
I would
such
love
a
it.
good idea. You know,
Yeah,
imagine. I mean, that's what friggin' year 2001 was like. We had like ICQ and MSN and
miss the MSN days.
Those
Although
days,
those were a different can of worms. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's different.
I don't even know how
I don't know. We don't have to
world.
get into that. Hey,
No,
let's get into the news of the week.
Let's do
news
it.
of the week. We're going to do a couple fast stories because, you know, we spent a lot of time talking about Adam. And you know what? People can't get enough of that. But you know what? I can. So we're going to move on to some news of the week. And here we go. We'll start off with this one. I think it's important. And we talk about pop culture headlines here. So here we go. Will Smith moves production of new movie out of Georgia over voting law. And for those of you who don't know, Will Smith is creating a new movie. I think it's called Emancipation, out of Georgia originally. Now, the state recently passed new voting laws that allegedly made it more difficult for people of color to vote.
Yeah.
And Will Smith is like, fuck that. And he got out of there.
You know what? Good for freaking him. I'm not going to, I'm not going to go into it too much because
it's all its own can of worms for sure.
Yeah. I just, and I'm not, you know, I'm a white guy and I can't pretend to feel what these people have felt. But the fact that these states are implementing these laws is bogus. Like, are you actually serious? I don't understand how these things can happen. Not even alone in the grand scheme of it's just wrong, but even after the past year or two of what's been in the media, specifically these years.
Yes,
how is this happening? How? I don't know. Good for him, man. And I used to be really obsessed with Will Smith. I went through a phase where I was like, I wanted to get a T-shirt of him, and I wanted to watch. I watched all his movies, and like I probably tried to like tweet at him or something. But yeah, you know what? I respect him a lot as a human and as an actor, and good for friggin' him.
Yes, I agree with all those points, and mostly just the point of like how. Yes, I agree. It's a question I don't know how to be answered, except for like how does this happen in 2021? Well, it shouldn't happen in general, but how does it happen now with especially the year we just had? It's crazy to me.
It's
all
wild.
Right, moving on. We're going to talk about your next group of heroes, the Powerpuff Girls.
Oh yes, them.
Yes. I'm not sure if you knew this, but CW is making a live action Powerpuff Girls show.
Oh my goodness.
And they star 3 adult women. One of them I recognize because she was the lead actress in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I didn't even know that show existed until about 2 months ago. So that's interesting.
Yeah, that show is actually Dark Horse very good. If you get past the first half of the first season is really rough, and then it starts getting better. Anyways,
okay.
With this, it stars. The idea, Adam, is that the Powerpuff Girls are grown up now. They're grown women going on their own type of adventures, but they're resentful because when they were kids, they were fighting crime and childhood was stolen away from them. You know,
a
very super modern story. I feel like
that's an interesting take. You know, I mean, in terms of like the storyline, I wouldn't say it's not unoriginal, but it's not the most original thing. But
I don't think it's that original, but yes.
But it's interesting that they chose the Powerpuff Girls to do this with, you know?
Do people care about the Powerpuff Girls in that way?
I mean, when I would say when I was younger, yeah, a bit more, but I mean, we were kids, so we obviously watched those kids shows, but I think it's an interesting take for a live action, you know? For example, when I saw the live action of Lion King, I was scared, man, because that is literally my all-time favorite movie. All time. The original Disney Lion King from 1992 or whatever it is. Something like that. And I was scared because I'm like, this movie, it's not only an amazing story, it means a lot to me in my childhood and, you know, where I grew up and came from. It was referenced so much in, you know, growing up, and even my mom would reference it all the time. And I was scared to watch it. And when I watched it, I was happy, dude. It was so well done. I felt almost like I was watching the original movie in a modern way. So it's interesting because this is a different kind of take on live action. It's not just a copy of them as kids now. So
it's mostly it's like them with like social anxiety problems, maybe a drinking problem.
Who knows?
Where's Mojo Jojo? Like, are they going to have a talking monkey?
That could be terrifying. I'm not looking forward to that.
You don't want to see?
I'm not looking forward to it.
All right. Okay. Well, fair enough. I'm
Mojo
not
Jojo,
sure.
not the show.
Mojo Jojo. Yes. I mean, like, who would you want to play Mojo Jojo? Like, I don't know. Brad Pitt.
Beats me. Brad Pitt. All right, Brad. If you're out there listening, you're in, man.
Yeah, that's it. Okay. What else do we have here? We have Fast 9 is finally coming.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
This movie was delayed for a year. In fact, it was delayed like a month, 2 months. 3 months, 6 months. And then they're like, fuck it, a year. You know what? Maybe not a year and a half. But it looks like it's finally coming this summer.
Good, because I actually, I think it was within the last year, watched all of them start to finish.
Oh, really?
I had seen up until like 4 or 5. And I don't know. It wasn't even out of like disinterest a lot, because there were some that were like, nah.
Yeah, of course.
But I actually thought the later ones actually were pretty okay. I thought Hobbs and Shaw was pretty well done. And I was hoping for another one. I'm happy to hear that. I'll be interested to check that out.
You're into who you like? Vin Diesel the most? Is it the John Cena that's pulling you in? What's going on?
Oh, I don't know. No, not the John Cena. I feel like I don't know about that. And Vin Diesel, I mean, you can't say him. Everybody says him. Yeah. And he's passe. No, I'm kidding. No, there were some really strong actors in it. I really liked Tyrese in it. I really liked the guy who plays he plays one of the kids at one point. I can't remember his name. But anyways, yeah, I thought overall for a series that has ran that long, they did pretty well keeping it interesting. And then of course, with Paul Walker, the way they integrated that, I really love that they didn't kill him off in the movie.
Right.
He just, well, I mean, are we spoiling here?
I mean, like, it's a pretty old movie.
Yeah. Too bad. No, he's not around anymore. He's gone to do his thing. And I like that. It was a nice way.
It's good for that. I agree. I'm excited. I mean, a year out, like all these movies that were supposed to come out last year, now they're like a year later. It's like, like just give it to me already.
Speaking
I'm tired of waiting.
What's up with Mortal Kombat? Did that come out?
That's not out yet.
Oh, I thought it was supposed to come out yesterday.
No. That will come out this summer. I think it got a slight delay, but it's coming.
People
and I'm
kept
excited.
telling me yesterday, they're like, oh, I think it's today. I was like, what? Really?
No, those people are wrong.
Yeah, they are wrong. Oh, man, that's going to be good.
Yes, I agree. And maybe our last story here, I'm just scrolling through what we have here, but it sounds like, let's see here. Let's see, Adam. What do we have? We have Spider-Man, the next Spider-Man film. How much do you know about this?
I don't actually know anything.
I don't want to say anything.
I've been so enthralled into the Falcon lately, and
the Winter Soldier.
Yeah. I'm really enjoying it, to be honest.
Me too.
Yeah. No, tell me about it. Do
you want to know? Because it's
I do, yes.
Somewhat spoilers here.
Nope, that's okay.
Okay. So with the new Spider-Man film, there has been reports about, over the last couple of months, there have been reports about a lot of people from past Spider-Man films, not in the MCU, returning for this film, kind of like a multiverse type of thing, kind of like a Spider-Verse type of thing.
Oh, interesting.
People like Andrew Garfield, people like Tobey Maguire.
Yes, I did. Sorry, that I did hear. Yes.
Jamie Foxx and everything, but it's always been like, no, they're just, we're Disney, we're Marvel, like, maybe we're not actually doing it, but it's fun to talk about, right?
Yeah.
And here we go. Just over the weekend, Alfred Molina, a famous person who played Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
He spilled the beans in a big way. It was just an interview. No, it's one of those things where people are like, yeah, you shouldn't talk about this. But he's just like, they're like, so what do you think about this movie? And he's just like, oh man, yeah, it's been so long since I played Doc Ock and it's been like 17 years.
Oh my God.
He's just going on and on about it, like, and yeah, I'm just really excited to come back to it. And everyone's just like, damn it.
Oh, I mean, they asked. Like, what do they expect?
What do they expect?
On,
they can't get everybody to follow an NDA. I'm sure there's.
Oh, that's funny. Well, I know what I'm going to be doing over the next little while. I'm watching them all start to finish now. That's it.
I love those Spider-Man films. I love them.
There. Okay, let's do this.
Okay.
Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield.
We're doing this?
What's his name?
Tom Holland?
Yeah, Tom Holland. All right, you first.
Oh, just
me first.
Okay, go ahead.
No, you. No, me.
Just go, Adam. Just go. Yeah, I know you want to.
It's changed over time, but actually, even though I didn't remember his name now, actually Tom Holland.
Of course it's Tom Holland. What are we even talking about?
Come on, man. I was an OG.
Everybody says they're an OG Tobey Maguire, but he's just he looks like a 40-year-old man who says he's in high school.
Yeah, I mean he just fit it so well.
Yes.
So friggin' well.
I have a fondness for those movies. I'm sure they hold up in some regard, but like, come on. Tom Holland, he's a kid. He plays Spider-Man very well. Andrew Garfield, great Peter Parker, too handsome.
Yeah, very handsome.
Too handsome.
Yeah,
like us, it's a problem. We live with it.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I have to push people off daily, man.
I know you've been telling me about it. All right, Adam. We came here for a reason. We're going to talk about the movie of the week. Do you want to introduce it for the people at home?
Yes, it is called Love and Monsters.
Where have you been, Joel?
Amy, I love you. I'm gonna come find you.
The day of the monster uprising was the day I lost everyone. Only a small fraction of humanity survived and moved underground. I've been scanning for Amy the entire time. And now I finally found her.
Joel!
Hey!
Joel!
Amy, is that you?
Oh my God!
Hey!
It's on Netflix. It's a new one, 2021. And basically the whole premise, if I may, Tom.
Yes, of course.
The whole premise is it's a post-apocalyptic movie, which I love. They're one of my favorite genres. But the world has ended, and I won't say how, because that's one of the fun parts of the movie.
Because it's like the beginning of the movie.
But it's so cool. I want people to see it because they expect something. You always expect the world to end a certain way.
Okay.
And this was like, oh, what? That's how it happened?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah. The world has ended, or as we know it, the population. I think I'll give this. It was like 95% of the population is wiped out, and people have to live with monsters. And it's basically the story of a guy trying to go out and meet his ex. I'm like, why would you do that in the first place? I don't freaking know. But
he was about to have sex before it all went down.
I mean, whatever floats your raft, So I wasn't expecting it to be very good. If I'm being totally honest, I saw the actor. The actor is pretty good. I like him. I think he's a great actor.
Pretty good. I've never seen him in anything. I think he was great.
You haven't? No, I've definitely seen him in something before. I forget what I've seen him in, but I have seen him in other things, and I like him as an actor. I think he's lighthearted. He kind of reminds me of like the Squad that would roll in like even like a Michael Cera type of movie if it was more like not family friendly.
Right.
I think one of the things I liked about this movie was I wasn't really that night looking for something really raunchy or something very violent, but I also wasn't looking for like a feel good happy movie. And this is the perfect balance in my opinion. It's not like, what was the movie I watched recently? It was another thing, Monster Hunter. Have you seen Monster Hunter?
No, because I knew it was gonna be terrible, even though I liked the games.
It was not the best, but it was scarier at some points. Like for someone who, not for me, because I watched a lot of horror movies, but for someone who's not into that type of stuff. But I expected it to be kind of like that actually, and it's more lighthearted. I would say it's a comedic post-apocalyptic.
Of course, it's like action comedy romance.
I was pleasantly surprised. I would give it maybe a 7.5, maybe.
Oh, we're not at the reviewing part yet. We're not there.
Shoot.
So save that. Okay. Save that for a little bit.
Locked and loaded. Locked and shut.
Yeah, that's the expression. Yeah, Dylan O'Brien is the star. Apparently, his big thing was Maze Runner. He was in the Maze Runner.
Yes, that's where I've seen him. Yes, Maze Runner.
He's been in a bunch of different stuff. I've never seen the Maze Runner movies. No.
Oh, dude.
I didn't realize there were 3 of them. So
I think you would like them. The third one is kind of like, man, really? We went that direction.
How many times can there be a maze to run through? I don't want 3 of them.
Well, and that's the point. That's why in the third movie, you're like, Why is it called Maze Runner?
Kind
No,
of like
I
Prison Break. Like,
Yeah.
you know, there doesn't have to be multiple seasons of Prison Break because maybe they're not good at breaking out of prison, you know?
yeah, like give up, you know, just accept you're in there and pull up a new hobby inside.
Yeah, make some music. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they got a guitar somewhere in there.
With this movie in particular, I mean, there is a lot to celebrate with it because I okay, so I guess I'll preface this by saying I reached out to Adam a couple weeks ago, and he was very adamant of being like, hey, you should watch the trilogy of Unbreakable, Split, and Glass. And I was like, well, Adam, like our podcast isn't for another 2 weeks. Do you want to choose something that, you know, that's going to be a little bit more fresh in your brain? And he's like, no. Can we do 3 movies? And I'm like, I don't think I have time for 3 movies. Usually a guest chooses one. He's like, well, let's choose Glass because it's so unique and stuff. I'm like, I always kind of want to watch Glass. Let's do it. And it was just the other night, like just 2 nights ago, when I sent a picture to Adam being like, I'm starting Glass. Woo. And Adam starts to call me and I couldn't take the call because like I was in a position where I wasn't able to take the call. But anyways, Adam's calling me. And I'm like, why is this guy calling me right now? And it's because he's like, wait, can we change the movie? I need to choose a movie that's going to be a little bit more fresh. And that's when I told him I was going to kill him.
And absolutely. And I mean, I deserve the death. But you know, I still love Glass. Like, it was an amazing movie, but I'm someone, if I'm going to review something, I didn't even think about it at the time. And it needs to be within like the past 2 or 3 days.
Yeah.
Anything before that, it's like it might as well be 23 years ago. Like I don't
of
know.
course.
But
I was going to be like, Adam's memory has really improved since the last time I've seen him.
that would be untrue.
Yes. Okay. But anyways, you chose Love and Monsters.
Yes.
And then I looked at it and I saw the artwork for it and right away I was intrigued by it. And then I watched it. It's an hour and 49-minute film. It goes like at a really decent pace. It doesn't feel long. And I had a great time with it. I really did.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah. One thing, you know, one part I really liked, if I may, or is that your next question?
Sure. Let's do it. What are the parts you like?
I think it wasn't really specifically one part, and this is very obvious when you watch the movie. It's not going to be it's very obvious for most people, but the interaction between the dog and the man. And the reason is, here's why. And I'm sorry to everyone listening, but I'm not a huge dog person.
I'm going to have to kill you again. I'm sorry.
It's always the reaction. Now, here's the thing. I don't not like dogs.
Yeah.
I like other people's dogs. I just can't have them because I'm not good at taking care of them.
Yeah, they're a lot of work. So
and that's the thing, is it's not I don't like dogs. I'm not a dog person because I can't be. But you know, the way that dog in the movie is a human. Like that's a human. That's not a dog. That's a human. And that is, I probably in my whole life, the movie that has spoken the most to the whole man's best friend, you know,
concept.
saying,
sure. Yeah.
Like, oh my goodness, the dog responds to him when he asks questions. The dog, you can tell, has a personality and emotions, and he gets hurt and upset and sad, or he loves his friend so much that he'll do anything for him. Like it's amazing. And
so I want to talk about that part of it, just the dog aspect. So yes, you have the main character who lives in a bunker with his family, or, you know, not real family, but like people like family. They take care of him after the post-apocalypse has started happening. But this one guy, he's the only one in his bunker that isn't in a relationship. And his last memory of someone he truly loved when he was 7 years ago was this woman that he's still kind of in contact with, but she's like a 7-day journey away. Yeah. Yes. So he starts going after her.
And let's be honest, he's kind of useless in the bunker. He cooks and he fixes a radio.
He cooks and he cooks a mean, what is it?
Minestrone.
Minestrone. I mean, I would love that. But yes, he freezes up. He's not very good.
Yep.
Classic. And then he runs into this dog who right away is so capable and is able to like open a door and pull this guy out of situations. And the thing that stood out to me right away was that they used a real dog.
Yes.
And that's
insane. Funny that you say that, because I literally almost right away when he was at that bus, when he met the dog, I paused the movie and I'm like, I like that dog. Like I'm not a huge dog person because I can't take care of them. I'm not good at it.
Yeah.
But I like that dog. That's a nice looking, handsome dog.
Yeah.
It's a perfect size. Like I don't like, if I was ever to get a dog, I wouldn't want a big boy, but I'm also not one for the little chihuahuas.
Sure,
and I'm
yeah,
like, that's a perfect size. And he's got a beautiful face. He kind of looks like a wolf. I like wolves. And then, and he was just perfect. And I sent a picture to my friends. And I don't know if you knew this, Tuong, but Bing has a feature where you can input an image of a dog and it reverse searches and tells you what the dog is.
What?
Cool.
Yeah. And what kind of dog was it?
He is an Australian Kelpie. Now, I spoke to one of our mutual friends that you know, and and she said, I said, what about Australian Kelpies? You'll know who I'm talking about. She's Australian.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
and she said, oh, Kelpies are great, but they need a lot of exercise and they're very energetic. I'm like, I guess that wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, actually, that person, Keish, she's been on our show before, so people may know her from previous episodes. Yeah.
Yes.
But so with this dog, real dog, which is super impressive in 2021, because like they got this dog to do a lot of stuff. I kept
wondering in the film, like, how did he do that? Like,
they trained the dog to do a thing, and it's incredible because people may not remember, but Harrison Ford had a movie literally called like Call of the Wild or something like that, or something in the vein of that, where he is with a dog the entire movie, but that dog was completely CG the entire movie. And that dog was just a human crawling on all fours wearing a suit. And it's like,
I did not realize that.
Oh my goodness. It's like not a real dog. So I'm like, is that just the future now? We don't use real dogs in movies.
Oh my goodness.
It was really refreshing to see this dog.
What movie was that?
It's I'm gonna look it up, but it's a Harrison Ford movie. That's and ridiculous. The whole thing is about him and this dog and the relationship between it's Call of the Wild. That's what it is.
Can you imagine being that human?
Yeah, it'd be and imagine Harrison Ford being like, okay, now I gotta pretend it's a dog, so I'm gonna pet this human like a dog.
What if they had like a cuddle session?
What if the dog was licking him and stuff like that?
There's nothing wrong with cuddling your homies. I do it, but like,
I do it. I don't care if someone licks me in the face. Well, maybe not now because it's COVID, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, maybe pause it for 6 months or so, or a while.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. But a funny thing about this dog was its name was Boy. And in this movie, I'm going to spoil two things here, which is there's the dog's name is Boy, and there's another.
The dog's real name, by the way, sorry to interrupt, is Hero.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah. And there's another character in the movie that happens way later called Cap. And Captain Meatball, my dog, was watching this movie with me, and he was freaking out because he's just freaking out because there's another dog and he hates seeing it. Well, he doesn't hate it. He just starts like being like, what is a dog? Why is there a dog on the screen? But what I call him Boy all the time, like, oh, my boy. Yes, my boy. So every time this main character was like Boy, he would be like, Hoo! And then later,
who's summoning me?
Yeah. And then later there's a character named Cap. And they start saying his name, and he's just like, "What's happening?" So there's
why are they calling me by both names? What did I do wrong?
A little bit too much stimulation for him in the movie, I think. But
what kind of pup is your pup? I forget.
He looks like a black lab, but he's a golden retriever, and he's a Siberian husky. He's a Shih Tzu. He's a pug. He's
beautiful.
Everything. He's a beautiful dog.
And those types of dogs, I guess the classic thing you think of a dog is what I love. I just like, the golden retriever.
Yep.
I sent my girlfriend another one, yesterday. I was like, oh, here's another dog that, I would consider getting at some point. And she's like, that's a golden retriever, like the most generic dog of all time. Like, yeah, I like it.
yeah, he's a good boy. He doesn't look like a golden retriever, but he is one. I did DNA test, awesome. And he was freaking out during the entire movie, and then he saw the monsters, and he was super intrigued by that. But hey, we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Let's circle back a little bit. Let's focus on the monsters and how well designed they were.
I thought they were very well done. I'll be honest. I mean, even like this movie and all the movies I've been watching that have a lot of, CGI and stuff lately, I'm always blown away. What did I watch? It was another movie where this girl, it's based on something warrior. It's based on an anime.
Okay. I'm not sure if I know. Anyways, doesn't matter.
Anyway, the point is, it's very CGI, even more so than Love and Monsters. And the amount of detail that goes into this, I can't comprehend how they do it. I know it's with obviously software and blah, blah, blah. But, the way that the shadow is cast across the face and just ever so slightly moves when they turn, I'm like, how is that possible? How do we have technology to do that? That's just crazy. The tiny little wisp of hair that doesn't just sway back and forth like a Nintendo 64 game. It's literally like they've created an actual piece of hair that's synthesized on the screen. It's just insane to me. The CGI was well done. I don't think it looked, there are a few points where I was like, okay, yeah, it's fake.
Yeah,
but,
of course it's
but
fake.
Overall, I think in terms of they weren't trying to make the monsters seem overly holy moly, that could be real, but they were, though. I think they were pretty well done.
Yeah, and I'd be curious to see. I guess my criticism of the movie is that I would have just liked to see even more monsters, because the monsters they showed were awesome. And I was like, okay, show us even more, because we got some pretty cool looking monsters throughout the movie. They started naming them, and I'm like, that's awesome. The main character starts drawing them. A fantastic artist. He's like, really amazing. Good at it. And then
his progress was amazing.
Yeah,
he drew this picture of his girlfriend at the beginning, and it was just, oh wow, what?
Yeah, this guy, he's gonna make it one day. I would have just liked to see even more monsters. I can see a world where they kind of build a small universe off of this, maybe one sequel or something like that. I can see that, and I would watch it because the tone of the movie is it was really good. It was very fun. It was light, but there's good emotional pulls to it, so it's not too kiddly as well.
And I really liked that they gave the monsters a human element to them as well. That it wasn't, they weren't all, I was expecting it to be like
Godzilla's and stuff like that.
Monster Hunter. Yeah. And it was just, they're here to destroy and that's it. But it was there's a point where there's this massive snail in the forest, and he's just kind of curious and scared, and he might squish you and crush you to death, but he's not doing it because he hates you. He's just scared. And
then we get the climax of the movie, which is spoilers. That's how it ends, right? It's they don't kill the monster at the end. Yeah. It's just the monster's being tortured, but you can see it in the eyes.
Yeah.
Eyes, baby. Yeah. He's a nice little...
We need some of that human connection when we're so far apart these days,
Yeah, that's right. When I stare at someone, I see someone that is just a giant crab.
When I stare at people now, I just don't look away, and I keep staring even if they look away.
Okay, so what we also have are people like Jessica Henwick, who I've noticed I really like this actress. She's been in a lot of stuff. She's actually in Game of Thrones for...
That's what it was. So there's another... Have you ever watched the show The 100?
I've never seen The 100, no.
There's an actress in there who plays a character called Amori. And I always get... Is it Jessica Henwick?
Yeah.
Yeah, I always get them mixed up because they look, in my opinion, they have very similar facial features. But Jessica Henwick, I was trying to figure out if it was her or the girl from The 100. I wasn't sure. Yeah. But she plays one of the Sand Sisters in Game of Thrones.
And she also plays in the very mediocre show Iron Fist.
Come on.
And
it wasn't that bad.
It isn't that great, though.
Yeah, that's true.
But she is the best part of that show.
Yes.
Iron Fist. And especially in the second season, which is the only redeemable quality because she does her own stunts. And I'm like, that's when I started paying attention to her, because I'm like, she does her own stunts. She's gorgeous and she's a great actress. And I was really happy they gave her a leading type role in this movie, because she deserved it, right? It was great to see her.
And she's relatable. She's not overly, how you watch you watch the Vin Diesel or the Fast and Furious movies, and Vin Diesel's the macho strong guy, and she doesn't, you watch another movie and that's the cheerleader girl, and I find she doesn't fit into one of those categories. She's just her character, and I really like that about her. Whereas even the Cap guy, he's the macho ex-Marine or whatever,
who's just super handsome, and
I actually didn't think that he was not good looking.
Well, that's what they're going for.
He was just strong. And then even the main character in this one, not as much, but he's the guy who doesn't. He got the girl, but now he doesn't have her, and he's kind of nerdy, but not super nerdy.
Yeah.
But I don't find she fell into any kind of category, and I like that. It's just human.
Yeah, she fell in the category of being like a strong leader type of thing who cared for other people, and that's what I liked about her too. We also get Michael Rooker in this movie, which I love seeing him. Him and this little girl intersect with the main character, and they teach him how to survive in the wild and do all this stuff. And I loved all those moments in the movie.
I had to take a few second looks, the first few scenes, like few cuts with him, and I was like, is that him? I can't tell. I'm so used to seeing him without his beard, and not playing a role where he's actually encouraging and a pretty gentle guy.
Oh my god, yes. So that's the thing, because I was like, okay, when's the time when he's gonna betray people, be a dick, be like over the top or anything? But
is he gonna like throw the girl, go over the cliff, like
like I don't know, work with the monsters or be a monster? I don't know. I was just expecting some sort of thing, but it was just like, no, he's just like a really capable dude who's a nice guy who's surviving in the wild, and I'm like, that's really refreshing.
It was. I mean, the first thing I ever saw him in was season 1 of The Walking Dead back in 2010, I think. And I was like, that is not a nice man. And everything since, it's been that's the perfect word, refreshing. It was very refreshing.
I mean, we get Guardians of the Galaxy where he has his own redemption, but he's still like a wild card and stuff like that. But in this movie, he's just like a good dude.
He actually wants to help him. He's like, we're going to teach you some things, or whatever he said. It's like, you are you going to teach me and then like feed me to a monster? Like, no, I'm literally just teaching you.
It was great. And the little girl was really good too.
Yeah.
I mean, she fits in like a mold of like this snippy kid,
of course,
but like it's fine. She does a good job with it. And I
mean, she's still such a young actress. She still has a lot of time to develop as an actress. Yeah. I felt like personally, I don't think she had one of the strongest acting skills, but I mean, she's probably actually like 10 or 12.
Yes. And that's
so much
fine.
Time.
Yeah, of course. Yes. And I like it because those two characters, they come and then they go. They don't linger. It's not like they come back for some war against monsters versus humans. It's not that. It's just they come, they teach the guy a lesson, they get out of there, and that's it. It's great.
I totally agree.
We also get a scene with like a talking robot at one point.
Oh, I loved that scene. I'm not huge into like super corny, mushy stuff. I like my feel good scenes. And that's kind of how I felt this was. It was a feel good scene. And I loved how the robot was. I kept wondering whether that was a pretty realistic interpretation of how robots might end up being. Not so much
in the best world,
but not so much so human that we can't differentiate them, but not so robotic that they're just like, hello, how are you, like that type of thing. Kind of a mix where they've got their I like to see the part where she starts telling him that yes, you can make it, and then she kind of pauses and then it's like, or you might die all these various different ways. Like she's too honest. I liked it. It was well. That was well done.
That's what I mean. That's why this movie has those moments where it is a light comedy action movie, but like this moment like showed me that it was a little bit more than that, because there was like a real emotional truth to it, which was the moment where the robot is showing his dead parents' face to him, basically, but not in like a gross or mean way, more if you had something to say to your mom, if you had something to say to your mom right now, you can say it right now. And like her face is or the robot's face, Mavis, is a picture of his mom who passed away because of a giant monster stepped on her. And it's like a beautiful little scene where like nice music's playing and has a really good, I don't know, a good speech for it. And you're right, it's not overly corny. It's just enough where you feel at peace with it, right? So
I feel like that scene, I feel like they were trying to make it seem like the robot almost became his mom for a second, but I don't think that went over so well, because I still just saw it as a picture on a robot head.
Yeah, that's what weird. I think they were going for.
Okay.
That's how I felt it anyways.
Yeah.
And then we get towards the end of the movie where you get the big climax against the giant crab and the captain and all that stuff was cool. You even got like this really just random generic character that has a cannon for an arm, which was like, that's pretty cool.
Like in this movie you will have a few scenes and your arm is a cannon, you will shoot someone and then you will leave.
And I'm like, cool, I'll take it. And then the very end of the movie, we have a really nice like moment with the two main characters, with like the character we've spending all time with, and Jessica Henwick's character. And I just really like that because like it's a whole like, well, he traveled all the way for her, but she didn't really think he'd make it. Like that's not the point. So they don't really end up together. It's not one of those happy endings, but they do get a kiss.
Yes.
So
yes. And I think the one thing for me after that scene that I felt, this was my one criticism of the movie. The journey back was like 5 seconds. You literally just see him like, I think it's like 4 or 5 cuts and he's back at the other place.
He's so good at it now.
The problem is, well, and I mean, the thing is we've spent so much of the movie on the original journey, which was the whole purpose. The journey back wasn't the purpose, was that it would have been a 4-hour movie if they had to, have a
do the whole way back. Yeah.
So I don't know even if they needed to show him going back. I mean, they could have just said that he did, and maybe he goes off into the distance, and that's just the, it's the you assume he made it back because the movie ends. I don't know if they actually had to show him getting back with people.
I think the whole point was for him to be like the reason why everybody else in the world hears his like podcast, I guess.
Right. It's basically what it is. It's a post-apocalyptic podcast. Yeah,
that's right. And they're like, hey, we can all survive in the world now, and on the surface, if you will,
because this useless minestrone made it.
And it's only been like a week.
Yeah.
But he did it, and that's the point. He inspired everyone else, and everyone else is leaving their bunkers, and 80% of them will probably die, but that's okay.
And they say that. They literally are like, we may not all make it, but the purpose is blah blah blah, and it's
the purpose is freedom, which I'm like, okay, this is really good, but maybe it hits too close to home for like people who are not following the rules and they want their freedom. But hey, that's not the point of this movie. It's not making a statement.
Let me have a drink of my tea.
Adam, I really enjoyed this movie, and I know you did too. But let's get your review. That's not a number. How would you rate this movie?
If I was to not numerically rate it, I would say it is I still don't know if I'd say family friendly, but it's a feel good comedic post-apocalyptic movie that will keep you engaged and end with in a positive way.
Right. Okay. All right. And here's my review. I would rate it 5 boys over 1 man.
I don't even know what to tell you. That sounds like it could be really good. That sounds like it could be really good. 5 of those boys.
5 of those dog boys. Like I would love one of those boys. Like he was an amazing dog. Best part of the movie.
Might as well just call him human. Like,
I love it.
Human boy.
Human boy.
No, human man. Human man in boy dog body.
That's right. That's right. Of course. Yeah. Adam, thank you so much for being on this episode of Talking Tongue this week.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's been so nice to catch up to you, see your face, and just see that your pineapple shirt is very distracking.
Good.
I've been having a hard time actually talking to you this episode because I've just been staring at your chest.
Oh, okay.
No, not because of that. Because of your pineapple shirt.
Are we still recording? Or?
Oh, we are. Yes.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Okay, great.
Adam, I know you have stuff to plug, so give it to us. Give us the plugs.
All right. You can check out my music on any one of your favorite streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple Music, blah, 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 blah. Check me out on Instagram at Adam Jasim, JAS like Samuel, IM like Montreal, official. It's Adam Jasim official. Everything is Adam Jasim official except for Twitter, which is A Jasim official.
Oh,
check me out. We've got a lot coming in the next 6 months. Basically, music is booked up until the end of the year. And then some moving into next year. So it's busy. So keep your eyes out. And also, if anybody ever wants to message me, please feel free to message me. I always try and answer all my messages and never discriminate against who I'm speaking to, regardless of where you are in your journey of whatever world you are in, artistic or educational or whatever it may be, wherever you are. Please message me. I would love to chat with you and connect with you.
I Love that so much. And we are looking forward to the next 6 months of the song Bodily Functions. I cannot wait to hear it. I mean, that's all the only reason why you're on the show is for us to finish that song.
Yeah, that's basically what the rest of my week is
just,
plan. Like that's it.
That's it. That's why the labels want you, is because you're really good.
Why else would they want me? It's not like I'm attractive or anything.
You are. We have already established that. You're attractive. You're much more attractive than the guy in this movie. You already established that. So here.
Well, I mean, when you're running through mazes all the time, what do you expect? Like.
And for myself, you can find the rest of the shows in the Pod Cavern at www.podcavern.com. Check it out. Check out all the cool shows that we have in the Pod Cavern. Buy a shirt. We have merch now. You can find that out at podcavern.com. To end the show, of course, Adam has to end with his world famous catchphrase. Let's hear it, Adam.
I am hungry.
I am hungry too. Bye, everyone.
Adios.